energy resource of the future. Scientists say that coal was formed about 300 million years ago, in a time known as the Carboniferous period or Coal Age. This stage lasted about 60 million years. During that time, giant plants and trees grew in swamps that covered large portions of the earth. There, plants contained the elements oxygen, hydrogen, and carbon. When the plants died, they fell into the water and were covered by layers of sand and mud. The earth was young then, and always changing its shape. As the ground shifted above the plant layers, its weight pressed down on the plants. This squeezed out much of the moisture, hydrogen, and oxygen, leaving rich deposits of carbon. The plant layers that received more pressure than the others became coal. Because it takes such great pressure and large amounts of time, it is not a renewable resource. Coal is very abundant and comes in large deposits. The United States claims more than a quarter of all reserves, enough for 1 trillion barrels of synfuels. At the present rate of consumption, our coal reserves will last the world more than 200 years. In 1979, over 250,000 miners were employed by mines in the U.S. Coal is easy to transport since it is a solid. There is usually enough coal in the average mine to sell for more than it costs to mine it. This makes coal an economical resource. Coal also has its problems. Each year, U.S. coal mine accidents claim more than 100 lives. Hydrocarbons can cause skin cancer and are prevalent in coal. It releases harmful pollutants into streams and the air. Strip mining harms the environment. Much of the coal in the United States lies buried deep in the ground. It must be reached by building shafts or tunnels that lead down to the coal seam. These are called underground mines. About 1/2 of the coal mined in the U.S. comes from underground mines. There are 3 types of underground mines: shaft, drift, or slope mines. The kind used depends on where the coal lies in relation to the Earth's surface. When the coal lies deep below a flat surface, a shaft mine is developed. In a shaft mine, a vertical hole is drilled to reach the level of the coal seam. A large elevator or cage is constructed to take miners and equipment down to the coal seam. When the coal lies beneath a hill, a slope mine will be developed. In this case, a sloping tunnel is dug out to the coal seam. The miners will usually walk down to the mine. When coal is exposed on a hillside, a drift mine is developed. The miners mine the coal as they move along, creating a long horizontal tunnel. The more coal that is mined, the farther the miners must go into the hill to reach the working area, or coal face. Other coal lies closer to the Earth's surface and can be removed by simply digging away the layer of dirt that covers the seam. This operation is called surface or strip mining. To hear more about strip mining, we'll listen to an interview with Jimmy Bain, who works in Albert Holman Lumber Company's Land Management Division and is a geology student at Shelton State. How do you find coal?
Generally, you find coal by using maps supplied by the federal government and the state governments, which locate coal in the general areas. Then you go in and test drilling down to around 100 feet until you locate the coal. And once the coal is located, you spread out and get wider areas away from the central location and see if the coal is still located out from the center.
How do you know if it's feasible?
Generally, it's feasible if you got over a 12-inch seam of coal. That usually justifies the reason to go down for the coal and remove the top cover off of it. You have to have an area around 20 to 30 acres to justify it in its entirety to go down. However, it's been known to be stripped in smaller areas than that if the coal seam is larger than 12 or 14 inches. Plus, the coal cannot be at a very deep level. Usually in stripping, it can only be gotten out if you're under 100 feet deep.
What types of coal are there?
About the only coal you have is bituminous, and there's different classifications of the coal known as steam or met coal. And that's classified according to how much sulfur is in the coal or how much ash is in the coal, which gives you a different rate of burning as far as your heat.
How much does it cost to mine the coal, and how much does it sell for?
Roughly at present, coal is selling for around $24 in the current market. But at the same time, it's costing about $20 to $24 to get the coal out of the ground. So at this time and point, it's almost not feasible to even do any stripping.
What equipment is used?
You use several different types of equipment. Mainly you use a drill to locate the coal. You use front-end loaders and bulldozers for removing the dirt and removing the coal. Then the coal is loaded onto trucks and barges for shipment.
How does coal compare to other forms of energy such as oil and wood in terms of price and quality?
Comparing coal to oil and gas and wood, you have coal, which is roughly $24 per ton, which is 2,000 pounds, and your wood, in comparison, it would take 5,000 pounds of wood, or roughly 2 cords, to be equal consumption-wise of production of heat. But on the other hand, your oil, I'm not quite sure what the difference would be, except for the fact that you have oil selling for $29 a barrel, or 42 gallons, compared to coal selling for $24 per ton.
How is the land replaced?
The land is replaced by a process we call land reclamation, where we come in and we put all the dirt back in that was there and the rocks. Then we cover that up with about 6 inches of topsoil, which is required by the federal governments. Then, after the topsoil is on, we grass it with a mixture of 7 different grasses to stop and hold down erosion. After this, the landowner is generally responsible for replanting trees if he so desires. Generally, on the replanting, is 700 to 800 trees per acre replaced, and they are replaced by hand. These trees take approximately 20 years to be ready for a new market.
Finding better ways to reclaim strip mine land and to prevent air pollution are two of the major challenges facing the coal industry today. In conclusion, we feel that coal is a valuable energy resource for today and for the future.